Derek's question is up next. It says, how do you prioritize savings and living in the present? I just watched your video on not being miserly, but I'm struggling to get to 20% savings without feeling like I'm putting my life on pause. No surprise, he's age 30. Yeah. So it's what we like to say is in the thick of the messy middle, or just entering maybe. Yeah. You know, he's in that ballpark. So do you have any words of wisdom to him?
I want you to answer it, but I want to tease. Derek, we actually have a show coming up. We're recording it in the next week, 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because we already got the content written on it, specifically
it's
focusing
take a little longer for it to release. I just
on the messy middle. But no, it is a full episode on the messy middle, because we know how much you guys are struggling. Now I'll leave the rest of it for Bo, because he is in this right now.
It's hard. Like a lot of folks out there, it is hard to hit 25% because we got family commitments and the real estate market is crazy, and we got a mortgage and we got the job, we got the spouse, we got 1,000 different things pulling us in 1,000 different directions. And I listen to the show and I hear Brian say, hey, memories blossom and it's so important and you need to not be miserly. If you are trying to get to 25%, I would argue you're not in that miser stance. You're in the hard part of saving. Building wealth and reaching financial independence is not easy. It's simple, it is not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. There is pain and friction and tension while you're doing that. So if you're feeling that, it's okay. Take a deep breath. A lot of other people around you in the same situation are feeling that same thing. Okay, Bo, so what are you saying? Does that mean that I just need to just suck it up and these next few years need to just suck and I'm gonna save until I get to 25%? No, may it never be so. What I'm saying is, learn how to save, learn how to get that 20% invested, learn how to get that 20 to 25, and figure out, okay, what things can I do now to still enjoy the present? And do those things have to cost me a lot of money, or might there be some ways that I can, and I'm gonna pull this from Brian, that I can bedazzle my basic life? Saving 25% and trying to get your savings rate up and deferring gratification does not mean that life has to be miserable, because we've both lived through this, Brian. We both lived through those early years where life was tight and saving was hard and getting those numbers was hard. And yet, I look back and some of those are some of like the greatest years, and we have amazing memories. I'd love to hear about how are you able to do that and do it well while still making sure you are focusing on the savings goals?
Yeah, I first want to tell Derek, you'll get through it. I mean, you will. I mean, time will. We say it. It's the country music part of the show where we say the days are long and the years are short. Yep. But you'll be there before you know it. It broke. Daylight opened up for me in my early 40s. I can remember that. But I also want to give a little additional context on how awesome the bedazzled basic life can be in the beginning. I've shared with you guys, a lot of you have heard me talk about it. And I've had to do a little research recently to go find the actual date. But my dad lost, it was a big announcement in the New York Times of June of 1988 that my dad's company was just getting out of the business that he had worked at for 23 years. And he was in his mid-40s, and they just yanked the carpet out from underneath him. Company car gone, salary gone. And my dad was around that entire summer, and it was the brokest of my parents' life. Where I know they were stressed. I've talked to my mom about how much stress was going on, but here's the weird thing, Derek, and hear me on this. The hardest time financially for my parents was the best time of my childhood. And the reason, my dad was around. Grocery store visits were different because we'd load up as a family, and I'm sure it was stressful for them, but as a kid, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a cool family time. I went to timeshare presentations, vacations. I mean, my parents were very creative. And I look back on that part with and that's the memories do blossom. Because like I said, the hardest time for my mom and dad was actually one of my greatest times. And here's what I've recognized about this, is that just like we talk about time in the market is more valuable than timing the market, time with your family, making memories, and knowing that stuff blossoms is going to be just as valuable as all the stuff you can buy, all the how nice things are. Just don't get caught up in that part. But I also understand, look, I do want you to as an achiever, and a lot of you financial mutants are achievers. I pick on Bo about this. That's why we're so good, because I recognize it in myself too, is that there is a balance. And that's what you heard me talk to with the miser that it sounds like I did a question on. But as Bo said, you trying to get to 25% is not getting into miser territory. It's just making sure your future self respects the decision you made now. Because, by the way, if you can sacrifice and understand the value of discipline and deferred gratification for the first 20 years you're in the workforce, guys, you'll reach escape velocity to a point that your last 30, 40, 50 years of life is phenomenal. And that's what you're working for. You really are trying to take a little bit of today for that great, big, beautiful tomorrow. I mean, that is what you're doing. Remind yourself of that, and then remind yourself, spend time with people you love and care, and maximize those moments.
That's great.